Hey trainers, Poke Dad here, along with me is,
KK Shiv 128.
and today we're doing a quick deck profile on Penguins and the Fox, aka Zoroark Empoleon. Now, a little background on this deck. About 5 weeks ago, Pokemon challenged me to build a deck with Penguins and the Fox, and then take it to a league tournament. And I did that, and wouldn't you know, I ended up getting top four. And this is not the original list that I started out with. It's developed and kind of morphed into this list as of today. And I actually think it's pretty well positioned in the meta. If people give it a run, it's a little scary in some of the matchups. You have to know what to do against Buzzgarb is a hard matchup, and along with Gliscod, Zoroark, if they have certain tech cards that we'll get into later. But definitely against the Buzzwole Lycanroc decks, I think it has a really good matchup there, and I think it has a good matchup against the Ho-Ho deck. And yeah, let's hop in. Backbone, heartbeat of the deck, 4/4 Zoroark. Not much to say there. Trade is just ridiculous. Solid attack with Ridus beating. Never going to use the GX attack. We have Mew EX. Now we're going to counter Buzzwole using this. This is our main counter. He's going to be able to copy Ridus beating with a DCE and easily one-shot Buzzwole 99% of the time. Now, another option, if you don't like Mew, that we've tested and played around with, is good old Sudowoodo. The tree has the attack Watch and Learn. And no, we're not playing fighting, but we are playing something just as good. Counter energy. So, you play Sudowoodo, you do Watch and Learn, and next thing you know, you take a big knockout. Kind of a surprise. We played around with it a little bit, but it seemed a little too situational for our liking. We definitely got more use and value out of Mew EX. Agreed?
I agree. With the Sudowoodo, you would have to have it down, them have to do a big attack to match up with their HP that they have, or 30 less, static choice man. And you had to have the counter energy just to take a knockout on it.
Fair enough. And with that said, we feel like Mew's just going to bring more value to the table overall.
You can also use it with other matchups. It doesn't have to be just against the the Buzzwole Garbodor or Buzzwole Lycanroc matchup. You can use it anytime pretty much.
Excellent. Moving on to Tapalele. Running two of these, and for the Wonder Tag ability, we're going to get that turn one Bridget, and we're going to grab a couple Zeros. We're going to grab Piplup. Typically on the bench, I'd like kind of a 2-2 mixture, because from our testing, if you get two Empoleons set up, the game just goes so smooth, right?
Yes, it does.
So a nice mixture of 2-2. It gets a little sketchy against Buzzwole because they immediately go aggressive trying to hit your Zeruas. And so you may have to start out with like 3 Zeruas to uh, evolve them, the ones that Buzzwole's trying to snipe on your bench. So you just kind of have to play that by ear. But against all the other matchups, the Gliscod, Zoroark, and anything other than Buzzwole, you want a nice mixture of 2-2 on the bench. We played this one because, like I just mentioned, if the Buzzwole player plays smart, they're going to target down these Piplups because your damage cap with Ridus beating is going to be 150 with Choice Band. Definitely not a threat. Empoleon, that is the threat.
Hitting for 230.
This guy, people can say and tell you all they want that all your opponent has to do is limit their bench. That's not happening. You're gonna have your Buzzwole on the active, you're going to have a Buzzwole on the bench, you're going to have Regirock, you're going to have Garbodor set up, 3 Pokemon.
Tapu Lele.
Tapu Lele, if you play that, there's 4. Uh, Even if you play Zoroark Gliscopod, you're going to have 1 Wimpod, you're going to have 2 Zoroarks set up, and probably a Lele for Bridget. And even if you don't, they're still going to have at least 3. Or the Buzzwole Lycanroc list. Are they just going to have the Buzzwole in the active and just an Octillery for draw and just 1 Lycanroc on their bench?
No.
No, absolutely not. They're going to have Brooklet Hill, and they're going to be fine in their setup. A lot of times they'll have 2 Octilleries. They'll have Lycanrocs ready for the gusting effect. And so they're going to have at least 3 Pokemon. Why do I keep bringing up 3? Well, if you have a full bench of 5, 100 damage. If they have 3, that's 60. Add your choice band, 190. Magical number. Now, the Buzzwole Garb list, they run the Fighting Fury belt, but that's really the only thing. Everything else is choice band heavy in the format, and so 190 is a super good number to hit. And more than likely, they're going to be playing Zoroarks, and Zoroark has 210, so if they have 4 on their bench, you're going to one-shot Zoroark. So, focus of the deck, build up your Zoroarks, get your draw power, get your draw engine going, and set up 2 Empoleons. You set up 2 Empoleons, you are going to win the matchup unless you just completely misplay and drop the ball. You get 2 Empoleons powered up, you're winning, right?
Yeah. Another thing with the Fighting Fury build on the Buzzwole, if they have a full bench and you have a full bench, just add a choice band and you can hit them for 230 and still get the knockout.
Absolutely. And against Gardevoir, you can definitely hit those numbers because they're going to have Diancies or a Rangaroo or artilleries on the bench. They're going to have a full set of Ralts set up. So these numbers aren't just crazy that we're throwing at you. They are definitely possible. And you do not need Kukui because, like I said, if you actually try to play a game of Pokemon and limit your bench to just 2 or 3, it's hard. It is really, really hard. Props to them if they can do it. I don't see it happening. In our testing, I've played at least 50 games with this deck, and I know how to play against it. And even when I play against it and PokeSun here plays it, I still can't really find a way to beat it without uh, limiting my bench to less than 3. I don't see that happening. Now here's the problem for the deck. This card right here. If there is one way to absolutely destroy this deck, it is Parallel City.
You play 4 of them.
And one is tough to play around. You got to find your field blower, and then you may have to use puzzles to get back basic Pokemons to fill up your bench. If they're playing 2, you might as well scoop. And that's what I was talking about. Zoroark Gliscopod decks, if they're running the tech version where they run 2 parallels and the puzzles, then it's pretty much an auto loss. But if they're not playing the parallel, the tech version, they're playing more of a generic, straightforward list with possibly enhanced hammers instead of the Parallel City, then you're going to beat them. Right?
Yes, definitely.
Parallel City absolutely cripples this deck in the worst way possible. For that reason, we've got 2 field blowers. We got to find them, get rid of the Parallel City ASAP. Even Garbodor can be a struggle. A lot of times, with this deck, yeah, it's nice to have the Zoroark for the draw, but it's not always needed. You know,
Definitely.
we've got 2 Aqua Patches, and it's 2's the perfect number. We've got 4 waters. We can trade, do the Aqua Patch, and attach one if we possibly have a water in our hand. We also play counter energy. So if we're down on prizes, attach counter energy to Empoleon, bring him up out of nowhere, take a big knockout. Super good. If you were going to try the Sudowoodo, you could probably go up to 3 and -1 water, don't you think?
Yeah, sometimes the water just it can be too much with the aqua patches and stuff, and then the puzzle times you can just get them right back.
Absolutely. 1 Soda. Deck doesn't feed on setting up super quick. You can afford to be a little slower. Let them take that prize, get your counter energy, take 2 prizes, take a return knockout with 2 prizes. So 1 is fine. 2 fill blowers, perfect. 4 puzzles, get back whatever you need. 3 rare candies, you don't really need 4. It's the Gardevoir Zoroark deck that Tord played that won only played 3. This is kind of based off of his skeleton. He knows what he's talking about. He's the expert, so he's got it dialed in perfect. So we're just kind of copying his skeleton here. 3 rare candy, not needed. The fourth isn't needed. 4 Ultra Ball, Bridget for setup. 2 Cynthia, good shuffle draw. 2 Guzmas. Don't need 3, don't need 4. We got the puzzles to get them back. We'll skip Mallow for now. 3 in, more shuffle draw. You're going to go down in prizes early, so setting your opponent back to a hand of 4, 3, or even 5 could sometimes really hurt them, slow them down enough for you to make that comeback. 2 Sycamores. You could possibly go to 1 and add something else you need, but I kind of like having 7 draws and the 3 Bridgets. I think it's pretty good because you're going to thin your deck out quite a bit, and it gets to a point in the game where uh, you don't want to sycamore your last remaining resources. So 2 Choice Band, not needed the 3rd or 4th. You can get them once again, same story. You can get them back with puzzle. So 2 is perfect. Now the MVP of the deck right here, Mallow. She is such an MVP in this deck in that a lot of times in your hand, you have 1 part of the puzzle or 2 parts of the puzzle. And with her, she can grab you the other parts you need. She is so essential in making that comeback, grabbing that rare candy counter energy, because maybe you have Empoleon in your hand, you can quickly evolve, get it up into the active, and take a huge knockout.
Or if you have 1 puzzle in hand, you can get another puzzle, get the things that you need out of your discard pile.
Absolutely. Maybe your hand is rare candy and 1 puzzle. So you Mallow for the other puzzle and the Empoleon. So you rare candy, do the Empoleon, double puzzle, get your counter energy or water energy and aqua patch, and all of a sudden your Empoleon's powered up out of nowhere, just like that. Mallow makes that possible. She is super, super ultra important to this deck. Without her, this deck would not be, it would not function. It may not even be possible. But with her, she's able to find exactly what you need at that exact time. Basically, 2 computer searches on top of your deck. And then if you add in the puzzle factor, all of a sudden it turns into a souped up dowsing machine also. If you want to think about that, she is a computer search and dowsing machine if you consider the puzzle of time picking 2 stuff up out of the graveyard or discard pile.
All for the price of just discarding 1 card from your hand.
So, can't say enough good things about Mallow. The only card I would think is maybe going down the Eva Soda and adding 1 float stone. I would look at that, or even going down in energy and adding a float stone. 1 would be nice just in case you have something in the active and you need to switch it out. But what I've found, if you kind of take the game and the matchup a little slower and you kind of think ahead of what you want to be attacking with on your next turn if something's knocked out. And so just don't, you have to really think about what you put in the active and think through your whole next turn on the kind of plays you want to make. And sometimes that's difficult to do, but once you get the hang of the deck, it's actually pretty easy. So maybe if you're starting out to play this deck, you're going to get frustrated. I've got to waste a DCE to retreat, or I've got to waste an energy to attach to Lele and retreat, and then I've wasted my attachment for the turn. So you get frustrated and say the deck's not working. Quite simply, cut an even soda, cut one water, add one, maybe two float stones until you get the feel and used to the deck of what you put up in the active. And but that's all I got. You got anything to add?
I think the deck's super good. Whenever we've been testing it, it's definitely been proven to beat all the meta decks.
It is. It's just not getting the recognition that it deserves. People
Nobody's
are,
really tried it.
yeah, but here it is, folks. So until then, be excellent to each other.
Party on, dudes.